Hi, my name's Julie, and I'll be walking you through the ACAO's Continuing Competency Program. This video is intended to assist ACAO registrants in using the online tools necessary for completing their Continuing Competency Program. It provides step-by-step instructions as well as tips to consider for an optimal experience. Additional resources can be found at acao.ca. If you have more questions after watching this tutorial, you can also reach out to the ACAO directly. Let's get started. The first thing you'll need to do is go to the Alberta College and Association of Opticians website. This website is found at acao.ca. Once here, you'll look for the Login menu. Under the Login menu, you'll navigate to My Profile. Clicking on My Profile will take you to the login page for your ACAO member profile. This is your ACAO member login page. It's the same page you visit each year when renewing your license with the ACAO. Your login information will be the same that you use when you log in to renew your license each year. You'll need to remember this information as you'll be logging in several times throughout your continuing education cycle. If you cannot remember your login information or have difficulty logging in, please contact the ACAO office for assistance. Once here, you'll need to enter your user ID, password, and license number, and click Login. Once logged in, you'll see there are several options here. Here you have quick links to print past receipts and to view your annual practice permit. Along the top of the page, you'll see a series of additional links. These include renewing your license with the ACAO, changing your status, updating your ACAO profile, registering for ACAO events, COA or quality assurance, which is where you'll find your continuing education information, and messaging, where you can reach out directly to the ACAO. For this tutorial, we'll follow the COA link. Once on the Quality Assurance Continuing Education page, you'll have a few options. Quality Assurance Tools, Continuing Competency Assessment, Online Learning Plan, Dashboard, and Activities and Courses. Let's take a look around. Clicking on the Quality Assurance Tools button will take you off this page and onto the ACAO's website's Continuing Competence Program page. This page has been built for registrants to better understand their Continuing Competence Program. It includes helpful videos, a step-by-step overview of the Continuing Competency Program, and a series of helpful guides. These guides are designed to help registrants understand their continuing competence requirements, their continuing competency program, and also to help them make the most of it. The guides include the Continuing Competence Program Information Guide. This information guide provides some background on quality assurance and on the program specifically. It also goes into greater detail about the program requirements and further explains each step of the process. Instruction manuals for logging in and taking assessments, and creating an online learning plan. These how-to manuals will provide step-by-step instructions on how to log in, take assessments, and complete your online learning plans. It will show you where to create goals and plans, how to add activities into your plans, and where to reflect on your learning. SMART Goals, Guidelines and Examples explains what a SMART goal is and provides specific tips on creating proper goals. It also offers several examples of appropriate SMART goals, suggested formatting when creating goals, and a practice worksheet. And finally, frequently asked questions. The FAQ document answers around 50 of the most common questions about the CCP. Questions about starting the program, taking the assessment, creating learning goals, and completing the program are all covered here. Let's head back to our ACAO profile. Next, let's take a look at the Continuing Competency Assessment. Once you're ready to start the program, your first requirement will be to complete the assessments. These assessments have been created for registrants to use as a tool to better understand where to focus their continuing education. The assessments were developed by NACOR and are directly linked to the national competencies for opticians. There's no need to prepare for the assessments in advance. Just find a quiet place that will be free from disruption, ensure that your internet connection is strong and secure, and allow 60 to 90 minutes to complete each section at your convenience. To get started, click Continuing Competency Assessment. Once you have clicked Continuing Competency Assessment, you'll see 4 different assessments. You'll need to complete whichever assessments have been made available to you. Which assessments you have access to is directly linked to your designation with the ACAO. In this example, this registrant is a registered optician, but not a registered contact lens practitioner or refracting optician. So they have been given access only to those assessments for core competencies and eyeglass competencies. This page also gives you an overview of what to expect from the assessments. It's important to remember that these are not exams. No matter what the results are, you cannot fail the assessment or lose your license. The results of the assessments are simply to provide you with information about yourself, to help you plan your professional growth and focus on the areas that may need development. Each assessment is timed, so you must allow yourself the appropriate amount of time to complete it. Once you click Start to begin an assessment, you cannot pause it or return to it later. You do not need to complete all assessments in one sitting. You may do one today and one next week if you wish, but if you start one, you must finish it at that time. And lastly, enjoy the process. This program is designed to benefit you and your development. You're already good at what you do. This is a great opportunity to learn more about yourself and create your own plan to further your growth in your profession. You'll also notice here that next to each assessment, you'll see a number of stems. This is the number of multiple choice questions you'll expect to see for each assessment. You'll also see a time in minutes. This is the maximum amount of time you will have to complete the assessment. Remember, you can't pause an assessment, so make sure you have enough time to complete it in one sitting. Once you're ready, click the Start button to begin an assessment. You'll get a reminder to ensure you have a good internet connection so that you're able to finish once started. Ready to continue? Click OK. For each assessment, you will be answering multiple choice questions. As the assessment is timed, you will see how much time you have remaining on the right-hand side of your screen. This will count down as time passes. Each multiple choice question will have 3 possible answers. It's your job to select the best possible answer. During the assessment, you can advance each screen by clicking Next, but also go back to older questions by clicking Previous, if you want to review your answers or revisit a question later. You can also continually change your answers up until the point you submit your assessment. On the final page of the assessment, you will see a button that says Submit the Assessment. Once you've answered all of your questions, you'll click Submit the Assessment and be taken back to the main assessment page. Once you're back on the Continuing Competency Assessment page, you'll see it looks a little different. Next to each assessment you've finished, you'll now see when you completed that section. You'll also notice you can no longer click Start for any assessments you've already completed. Finally, you'll also see that you now have access to the View Assessment Results button at the bottom of the page. Your assessment results will be made available immediately after completing each of the sections. The results will also remain available for you to view at any point throughout your continuing education cycle. Let's take a look at some sample assessment results. The assessment results page will allow you to see which competencies you are exemplary in, are moderate in, or those you need to address. These assessment results should help you determine where to focus your continuing education when deciding your learning goals in the next stage of the continuing competency program process. This screen shows you the results from any assessments you have completed. Here we have results from core and eyeglasses. Let's take a look at the core section. It lists the competencies on the left and the member profile on the right. These are your results, and they will be listed as exemplary, moderate, or in this case, need to address. For a better understanding of the competencies listed, you may also want to download the National Competency document from this screen. This document gives you a more thorough breakdown of the performance indicators within each competency listed to help you understand what is included in that competency. For example, under Competency 1.1, demonstrate a commitment to patient, client, the public, and the profession, includes a series of indicators including adhere to privacy and confidentiality legislation, regulatory requirements, and employer policies. Practice illustrations further help you understand what might be included in each performance indicator. As you can see, this document might be helpful in helping you find the education that is relevant to the competencies that you have decided you need to work on. Now that you have your assessment results, it's time to go back to the Quality Assurance page and move on to the next portion of the Continuing Competency Program, building an online learning plan. Once you have completed all the assessments required of you, you will be given access to the Online Learning Plan button. This button is found here on the Quality Assurance Continuing Education page or on the Assessments Result page. Let's take a look at that. To get to your assessment results, remember, you'll go to the Continuing Competency Assessment, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and click View Assessment Results. Here, you can see there's a direct link to the Online Learning Plan button. Let's go back to the main page. The Online Learning Plan is where you will work on the rest of your Continuing Competency program. For the remainder of your 3-year cycle, you will visit it regularly. It is here where you will create your goals, work on and update your plan, and reflect on your learning once you're done each goal. You can access your online learning plan whenever needed throughout your cycle. Let's take a look. The first thing you'll see on the Online Learning Plan page is an introduction. This introduction includes a brief overview of the Online Learning Plan part of your Continuing Competency program. To build your learning plan, you will create a minimum of 6 learning goals. We recommend trying to work on 2 goals per year. This ensures that you have time to address the goals you've set for yourself. Next, you'll complete some education activities to achieve the goals you set. The activities you choose, including the number of activities, is up to your professional judgment. It's up to you to determine what is needed to meet the goals you have set and improve the competency you've chosen to address. Finally, you'll reflect on what you've learned. This reflection is an opportunity for you to address whether the goal you set and the work you did really helped you improve the competency you hope to address. This introduction also includes a reference to the step-by-step manuals we looked at earlier. These are the guides found on the ACAO website and linked to through the Quality Assurance Tools button on the main page. A quick link to these guides can also be found on this page under Tools. Clicking Tools will take you to the same page we went to earlier, where you can scroll down and find the guides referenced here. For a more detailed explanation of each part of the learning plan, you'd want to reference the Continuing Competency Program Information Guide. There's a few more things listed here to remember when you're building your online learning plan. Be sure to click Save every time you make changes or add information to your plan. If you don't save your work within 20 minutes of making any changes, the session will log you out due to inactivity, and any changes may be lost. You may log in and out of your program at any time to work on your plan or update your progress throughout the entirety of your 3-year cycle. The program is entirely self-managed, so it's up to you to keep it up to date. We encourage you to take your time with this program and make the most of it. To create a learning goal, you'll click Add Goal. The Create a New Learning Goal page includes a set of instructions on the right-hand side. The first step is to choose a competency that you would like to improve on by clicking the drop-down menu on the left and selecting one from the list. You'll recognize this list of competencies from the assessment results we viewed earlier. The ACAO encourages registrants to focus continuing education on the competencies in their assessment listed as need to address, but does not limit you to only those competencies. You may also find it useful to address competencies most relevant to your practice. Let's walk through how a registrant might choose which competency to address. By hitting Cancel, we can go back to the Learning Plan main page. On this page, there's a quick link to your assessment results. In this case, the registrant has been flagged as need to address in all of their core competencies. Consider that this registrant might find it useful to apply organizational management principles to their continuing competency plan because they've just been promoted to a management role in their practice. They can go to the NACOR list of competencies to better understand what is involved in that competency domain. Here, under Competency Domain Number 4, Applies Organizational Management Principles, we can see the more detailed competencies, performance indicators, and practice illustrations involved here. For example, applying principles of ethical marketing and advertising practices to help ensure that marketing information provided is truthful and professional, and extend professional courtesy to competitors and collaborate as required to facilitate management of the overall eye health records. That sounds like something this registrant might want to work on. Let's head back to our plan. We're now back on the Create a New Learning Goal page. Let's go back to the instructions on the right-hand side. You'll recall step number 1 is to choose a competency that you'd like to improve on by clicking on the drop-down menu on the left and selecting one from the list. This registrant has decided to work on Competency Domain Number 4, Applying Organizational Management Principles. Once you've selected a competency, the performance field below will remind you of your performance level for that competency directly from your assessment results. Next, let's move on to step number 2. Create a goal that you'd like to achieve in order to improve the competency you've decided to work on. You'll type your goal into the field on the left. Be sure to make your goal a SMART goal. A SMART goal is one that considers, is the goal specific? Does it include a who, what, where, when, and why? Is the goal measurable? And how will you measure it? Is the goal action-oriented? Can this really happen? Is it attainable? And what steps are involved? Is the goal realistic? What knowledge, skills, and abilities are necessary to reach the goal you're setting? And is it time-bound? Can you set a fixed deadline for the goal? Additional information about SMART goals can be found by following the link here. or by following any of the quality assurance tool links we looked at earlier and finding the SMART Goal Guide. This registrant has decided to incorporate different types of marketing into their practice in order to increase sales by 5% by December 2021. Once you've entered your goal, hit Save. You'll now be returned to the Online Learning Plan main page. And now you can see the goal we created is listed here. Each goal will be numbered in the order it was created. It will also state the competency that you've chosen and the progress of your goal. It will first be shown in red as not started. This is simply because you have not added activities to your plan yet. Once you do, it will change to orange and be marked as in progress. You'll now need to click on the plus sign to open or expand the goal so you can add further details to it. With the goal details open, you can see a summary of your work. The competency you have chosen and the goal you created will be at the top. If you feel you need to edit your goal at any time, you can click Edit in the top right corner. If you do make changes, be sure to click Save again to update your work. Remember, you can create as many goals as you want, whenever you want. You'll likely be working on 2 or 3 goals at the same time, depending on your plans for each. Each goal may take several months to accomplish, so you'll need to think about your time frames in order to meet your requirements by the end of your 3-year cycle. Next, you'll begin to build your action plan. Once your goal has been created, you'll need to decide on a plan to achieve it. This is where the action plan comes into play and requires you to complete 2 parts. You need to describe your action plan in detail and add the activities you have decided to participate in. The order in which you add the information is up to you, but you will need to complete both parts. You have a couple of options. If you already know what you plan to do, you can first enter your plan details by typing out a description of everything you'll be doing to accomplish your goal. You can then add all the specific activities you'll be completing in your plan. Or, if you do not know yet what you're going to do to accomplish your goal, you can first look for educational options or activities that might be available. Once you find some activities, you can then add them first, and then type out your plan in detail next. Remember, you can log into your profile at any time to work on or update your plan. Let's start by building the description of our action plan. To do this, you'll click on the link to the left of the description box. Here, you'll type out an explanation of how you plan to accomplish your goal. Plan out the learning activities you'll be completing and the time frames you hope to complete them in. For an example action plan and further guidance on this section, you may wish to review the CCP information guide we looked at earlier. For your convenience, there's a quick link to the guide located here. Let's enter in a plan. For our registrant, who has chosen to address the competency of applying organizational management principles and created the goal to incorporate different types of marketing into their practice in order to increase sales by 5% by 2021, they've built this action plan description. They will complete marketing seminars to learn experiential marketing concepts by July 2020. They will discuss the marketing needs for their practice with their colleagues by August 2020. They will create a new marketing plan for their practice by October 2020. They will implement the new marketing plan for their practice by November 2020, and they will find coaching or mentorship to help guide marketing improvements by December 2020. Once you've entered in your description, you'll click OK. You'll then be taken back to the action plan main page, where you'll see your action plan for that goal. Remember, you can always click on the icon next to the description box if you need to edit it at any time. If you make any changes to your description, be sure to click OK. Now let's move on to adding activities into the action plan. Remember, your plan might include several activities, and you'll need to add each of them one at a time. To add an activity into your plan, click the Add Activity Course button here. A new screen will appear with instructions on the right-hand side. Based on the competency you've chosen to work on, you'll need to decide what activity or activities to complete in order to achieve your goal. To add an activity to your action plan, you have two options. Option number 1, click the box next to Manually Add an Activity or Course here if you've found an activity that will help you achieve your goal, and then enter the details in the fields provided. Or 2, click on the box here next to Select a known activity or course, and click the drop-down menu to see if there are any activities available to you. The list is made up of any known activities that are currently aligned with the competency you've chosen to work on. You may then select an activity and add it to your plan. It's important to note that the list of activities, if available, is only provided as a helpful tool. You're not required to choose from the list and may seek out other activities that will contribute to achieving your goal. Let's add an activity manually. First, you'll click the box next to Manually Add an Activity or Course. Next, you'll enter a description of the activity. In this case, the registrant has found a course called Engaging Consumers, Experiential Marketing, Digital ECP. Next, you'll enter the venue, if applicable. In this case, the course is offered online. Next, you'll enter in the date, and an anticipated completion date. Once all the details have been entered, be sure to click Save. You will then be taken back to the Online Learning Plan main screen, where you'll see the activity has now been added to your action plan. You may click on the icon next to the activity to edit it at any time. If you do edit your activity, be sure to hit Save. To add another activity to your action plan, click Add Activity Course again. This time, let's try selecting a known activity or course. To look for a known activity or course to add to your action plan, first click the box next to Select a known activity, action, or course. And then click the drop-down menu that appears. Once you click the drop-down menu, you'll be given a list of any known, accredited activities that are aligned with the competency you've chosen to work on. These are simply options, and you're not required to choose any of them or add them to your plan. In this example, these are the activities that are aligned with competency number 4, the one we've chosen to create our goal around. As you can see, there's a list of instructions at the top of the page here. These are helpful tips to help you navigate this list of courses. First, you can see that you can click on the question mark icon next to any activity to find more information about it. This will also show you who the sponsor of the activity is. You may need to contact the sponsor directly for more information or for details on completing if you decide to add this activity to your plan. In this example, the sponsor is the OAC, the Opticians Association of Canada. If you find an activity you'd like to add to your plan, simply select it by clicking on it, and it will show up in the appropriate field. If you have more details to add into the other fields, particularly the venue or your anticipated completion date, you should enter that information. And be sure to click Save when done. You'll then be taken back to the Online Learning Plan main screen, where you'll see that the second activity has now been added to your plan. Remember, you can always click the icon next to the activity to edit it anytime as needed. To add another activity to your action plan, click Add Activity Course again. Do this as many times as needed until all activities in your plan have been added. For more clarification on creating your action plan and adding activities, you may wish to review the Frequently Asked Questions document in the guides we visited earlier for additional reference. Next, let's look at updating and editing your action plan. Throughout your cycle, you'll need to update the information in your action plan as you make progress. Whenever you need to do so, you can simply log in here and update it. To update your action plan description, you'll click the Edit Action Plan Description icon here. You can simply make changes in the text box and click OK to save. If you need to update an activity in your action plan, you'll click the Edit Activity icon here. Once you've done so, a new screen will appear called Edit an Existing Activity. This page includes instructions on the right-hand side to help you navigate. Here, you may decide to edit the details of the activity, such as the name of the activity or your anticipated completion date. Simply change the details in the appropriate fields and click Save. Doing so will take you back to the main screen where you'll see that the changes have been updated. If you decide to remove an activity from your plan, you may do so by clicking Delete at the top of the screen in the Edit an Existing Activity page. To do so, click the Edit the Activity icon and click Delete. If you've completed the activity, you'll need to click the drop-down menu next to Completed here. Change the selection to Yes and click Save. This is a required step each time you've completed an activity in your action plan. Failure to update this will prevent you from submitting the goal later. If you've completed an activity, you can also upload a document to show proof of completion or attendance. While this is not always applicable for every type of activity, you're encouraged to upload documents if you have them. To do so, click Upload a Document and follow the instructions. Click here to choose a file from your computer. Open the file and click Upload. You'll now see the document is saved here. Be sure to hit Save. You can now see the changes we've made to the activity here. The anticipated completion date has been updated, the activity completed has been changed from no to yes, and the documents section reflects that one document has been uploaded for this activity. You can continue to make changes by entering the Edit the Activity page as many times as needed. You can remove a document by clicking X next to the document. The final section on this page is reflection notes. If you wish to make notes for yourself regarding the activity you've completed, you may wish to use this field. It is optional, but you may find it useful to add some thoughts or ideas about the activity so you have something to refer to later when completing your self-reflection required prior to submitting your goal. If you do add notes in this field, be sure to click Save when finished. Your reflection notes will also appear here, under the activity or course you've entered them in for. Let's update the second activity to be completed so that we can move on to the last step of our learning plan. You can see here now all of the activities that we've listed to meet our goal have been marked completed. And we can now move on to reflection. After completing the activities in your plan, you will reflect on your learning and how it has contributed to the achievement of your goal. Click on the Edit My Reflection button to summarize your experience and reflect on your learning. This new window includes some guided questions to assist you in your reflection, and also includes a link to the CCP Information Guide, which has an expanded list of questions to consider when answering this section. In the field provided, type out a summary of your experience in trying to accomplish your goal. The format in which you write out your reflection is up to you, but you should be as detailed as possible. If you had added any notes in your activities in the reflection notes sections, you may want to revisit those to help you here. Once you've entered all the information in your plan, click OK. Here we can see that the My Reflection notes you've just added are now seen in your action plan. If at any time you want to edit your reflection notes, you can click on the Edit My Reflection button. Remember, if you're typing a lengthy reflection, it's a good idea to click OK every few minutes to save your work. Failure to do so after a long period might cause your session to time out, and you may lose your work. We've now accomplished our goal. We've completed our action plan and all the activities we've set out to, and reflected on our experiences and learning. We can now mark this goal as completed by clicking the Goal Completed button located at the bottom of the page here. Remember to make sure that each activity has been marked as completed here and here. If you've not done so, you'll not be able to mark the entire goal as completed. When you click on Goal Completed, you will get a confirmation window asking if you'd like to submit the goal. To submit your goal, click OK. Now that your goal has been marked as completed, it is essentially closed, and you can focus on other goals. However, if you need to reopen this goal to add or change some information, you may do so by clicking Reopen Goal at the bottom of the goal at any time. If you do reopen the goal to make changes, be sure to click Goal Completed again once your changes have been made. You may now wish to toggle the minus button at the top of the goal to close or collapse the details. You will also see that the text has turned green. Once a goal is completed, it will show as green. Once you've created more goals, you will see them all listed together here, each with its own plus or minus button to expand or collapse the details for each goal. This continuing competency program does not require you to send the ACAO anything to meet your requirements at the end of your cycle. You simply need to have 6 goals marked as completed in your program, with all the necessary details filled out for each goal. Once you've completed at least 6 goals, the ACAO will be able to see that you've met your requirements, but may review your details for audit purposes. Remember, your requirement is to complete a minimum of 6 goals in each 3-year cycle. If you wish to complete more, you may certainly do so. Let's head back to the main Quality Assurance Continuing Education page. We've reviewed the Quality Assurance tools, the Continuing Competency Assessment, and the Online Learning Plan. Let's take a look at the dashboard. The dashboard is simply a place for you to quickly see your own progress throughout your current cycle. This will also be where you can access your past Continuing Competency Program work for reference purposes if needed. There may also be news from the ACAO on this page, so be sure to check back from time to time for any updates. Here we can see the goal we created earlier, and it's marked as completed. Here is news and updates with a welcome to your dashboard. Here is past cycles. Since you've not completed a cycle in this plan, nothing is here now. At the end of the first cycle, you'll be able to reflect on past cycles here. There's also a quick link to the Activities and Courses button from the main COA Continuing Education page. Let's head back and take a look at that. The Activities and Courses button is a link to the list of courses that you are able to access when building your learning plan. Here, you can search more in depth. You can search by competency number, format, for example, online or lecture, or by course name. In our example, our registrant might have found it beneficial to search marketing. This brings up 3 courses with marketing in the title. And look, the one that we chose is here. For more information or guidance on the Quality Assurance Continuing Competency Program, please be sure to review all of the CCP materials mentioned throughout this video, which can also be found on the ACAO website. In particular, registrants will probably find it useful to reference the Frequently Asked Questions document to find answers to any further questions they might have. You're also encouraged to contact the ACAO office directly with any questions or for assistance as needed. We're always happy to help.